Good afternoon, super friends, and welcome to the Friday, April 3rd edition of the Sacred News and Weather. I'm rocking my Shabbat candles here. I just spent about the last hour or so in prayer and meditation on this Good Friday, things that if you would have told me even a year ago that I would be doing, I probably would have told you, probably not. But this is where I've been called, and I keep following where I am led. So here I am on Good Friday, lighting Shabbat candles, drinking Shabbat hibiscus tea. I'm not actually drinking it, I just did a little ritual. And I'm sharing it with you because I feel called to. I feel called to share with you that I am marking this day in my own way. And my heart is heavy today at what is happening in the world. I just feel so clear that we Muslims, Christians, Jews, and I don't even identify as Christian or Jewish or Muslim. I don't identify myself with any of those three identities, and yet I am drawn to the ritual and the practice of all of these traditions right now. This is where my own meditation has led me. This is where my own devotion has led me. It has led me to praying in Aramaic and learning the frequencies of the prayer over the words so that I'm not caught up in the Catholic prayers of my childhood that I reject so solidly because it did not feel unified, or the Jewish prayers and language and letters that I was not taught as a child because my mother didn't want me to learn these things. She wanted me raised in the Catholic faith. And today I'm neither one of those things, and yet I'm studying deeply in the Jewish tradition to unpack my Catholic upbringing and to really understand where I've been called to in meditation and prayer, which is the essence of the teachings of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene and the truth that our own divinity resides inside of us. And so I've just been marking that day with this day with a little bit of sadness and a little bit of hope in my heart. The sadness stems, of course, from war, senseless, awful war over a land where Yeshua walked and lived and breathed his message. And just the senselessness of it all because we are all one. And I'm a little bit like, does this really have to be happening? Does this really have to be happening? Do we really have to be doing this in order to recognize that we are all one? And the answer inside of me is, well, yes, because it's happening and the universe is operating correctly, even when I don't like it and don't approve and wish for something so much more peaceful, so much more healthful, so much more unified than the world we're living in now. And so I'm not sure where today's message is going, and maybe that was it. But I'm here today and I'm going to close my eyes and feel what wants to come through. As with all of my messages, take what resonates, leave the rest behind, and know that if you're not finding yourself here in this message, that is okay. It's okay to turn me off. I'm not here for everyone. But if you found me, there probably is something here for you today. Also, I'm rocking my debut of my homemade sweater. I am chilled. I've been, as I said, in meditation and prayer, and I got cold. I get cold when I'm doing energy work and I'm moving energy. So I popped on my sweater and realized, oh, I don't think I've shown off my handiwork. I'm a knitter. I don't get to do it nearly as often as I would like to. But if you are a craftsperson, a knitter, a creator of any sort, please join me in, and one of my dear friends, Eden, in our End Time Salon. It is going to be a maker and doer and creator workspace. It's just a little pop-up. We're going to do 3 weeks in a row, Tuesday morning Pacific at 11:30, I believe we said. And we're just going to dedicate an hour and a half to creating. So whether it's knitting, writing, painting, drawing, singing, dancing, moving, shaking, we're going to offer you prompts and a little divine inspiration as it comes through this vessel or hers, and then we're going to set you off on your way, but feel free to work on anything that you desire to work on without using our prompts or inspiration. They'll just be there for you if you need it. All right, closing my eyes, and here we go. The first thing I'm seeing is the essence of these two candles, Shabbat candles, and the space between them, and the energy of the divine masculine on the right and the divine feminine on the left, and the central pillar of consciousness, our central channel, our energy centers, if you will, that run from root to crown. So divine masculine on the right, divine feminine on the left, the central pillar of consciousness, which is the central channel, our energy center that runs through the center of our beingness. And of course, Shabbat is the representation, the celebration of the bridal chamber. It is where our divine masculine and divine feminine come together as one and unify to create that central pillar of consciousness. That is what's happening when we celebrate Shabbat. That is what happens, though we've been taught that we are consuming the body of Christ and the blood of Christ. In the belief system, in the frequency that I hold, we are not actually eating Jesus. We are not drinking his blood. What we are doing is doing what exactly Jesus and Mary Magdalene would have done every day, which is a celebration of the unification of the divine masculine and the divine feminine to form this central pillar of consciousness, this central pillar of awareness. And that has to happen inside of us. That still point that I talk about, the still point within, where our humanity meets our divinity, as above, so below, as within, so without, the tree of knowledge meeting the tree of life moving through us and allowing us to recognize that we contain inside of us the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And when they stand together, we have that direct connection with our own divinity, with our own highest self. So that's what I'm seeing in the candles, in the impression of shadow and light of the candles. And the shadow, what I'm hearing, what wants to come forward is the way that, and this came up earlier in the week as well, the way that we often try and reach for our partners, our companions, our beloveds, our wives, our husbands, even our coworkers, our mother, our father, our children, the way we try to reach outside of ourselves for completion. The sacrament of marriage, to ferret the heart, begins with, sorry, there were two things coming at once and I needed to sort them, begins with that unification, the bridal chamber inside of ourselves, our unification of the divine masculine and divine feminine inside of us. For some of you, you are just awakening to the divine feminine energy because the patriarchy, because the church, because our hierarchies have suppressed the divine feminine for so long. We are just now awakening to the divine feminine, to the Mary Magdalene frequency, to the Magdalene, to the energy of the feminine. And we are awakening that in us and bringing our awareness into our body and recognizing something out there needs to change. So for some of you who have been reaching for your partner for completion, you're being invited to tune inward and recognize that that must happen inside of yourself before you can bring it to the outside, before you can look toward someone to be your mirror, to mirror that with you. That's actually what we are looking for when we are unifying with another beloved. And I'm speaking divine masculine and divine feminine. This has nothing to do with gender. I want to really make that clear. We all have divine masculine and divine feminine within us. It does not matter what your gender is or is not. We all have it inside of us, and we have all been living in an overabundance of masculine energy, not even divine masculine energy, but patriarchal masculine energy. And we need our men to wake up to both their divine masculine, their masculine divinity, as well as the divine feminine inside of them, and our women as well. There are plenty of women who, and I spoke of this when I talked about feminism versus the matriarchy, there are plenty of women who believe that their version of feminism is really reenacting the patriarchy in a female body, and that is not what we are looking for here. We are looking for the awakening of the vessel, the chalice, the divine feminine, and the outflow of energy, the divine masculine. And I feel that coming together here, and I feel the invitation for you to look inward and see feel where you might be out of balance, what wants to come into your life. For most of you, it really is that receiving piece, that allowing yourself to form a vessel. In the Kabbalah, we say a prayer, let us form a vessel to catch the dew of heaven. I'm hearing my teacher Anna talking about Psalm 133 and the oil pouring down from the heavens and coming into our bodies, pouring over us and pouring in us as the dew of heaven. It pours in Psalm 133, it pours into Abraham's beard. It pours into his beard and comes all the way inward. And it is the unifying oil. Oil in Ayurveda means love. It's the love. It's the pure divine love. It is the untainted, non-transactional, holy divine love that it wants to pour down. And the way we receive it is to really open up both sides of our tree of life. And of course, I say sides and I say right and left, but it is all encompassing. It is three-dimensional, four-dimensional, five-dimensional, six-dimensional. It is all around us and it dwells within us. We are being invited to open ourselves up to receiving, which is that feminine energy, and allowing the healthy, divine masculine, that compassion, that chesed is compassion and it is masculine. And we want that outpouring of masculine energy to pour into us, and we want to receive it as the divine feminine in order to fully open and awaken and marry, unify inside of ourselves that bride and bridegroom, in order to really consecrate the marriage inside of ourselves. I'm seeing the image and I'm reminded of the word devotion that came forward earlier in the week, and the way that Mary Magdalene never left the side of Yeshua, never left the side of her beloved companion. And those of you who've been around me know that I fully believe that the wedding at Cana was the wedding of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. I believe that they were a wedded couple. I believe that in the Jewish faith, in Jewish mysticism, there is no Messiah, masculine Messiah, without the Kala Mashiach, without the feminine Messiah. And I believe that they were a couple who came here to teach us about our own divinity. And she never left his side. And when all of the others left him, she never left his side. And in the moment that he took his last breath, that is when she opened up to her soul's assignment, her sacred assignment, which was to continue his ministry, their own ministry, as the representation of the divine feminine. But in our patriarchal culture, for 2,000 years, she has been squashed. And the reason why you're seeing her name everywhere, the reason why everyone is professing her words and talking about the divine feminine, is because we are moving into a new cycle. We are moving into a cycle where we recognize that the toxic patriarchy is no longer in service of unity, and that true unity can only come when the divine feminine rises up to meet the divine masculine. And even the divine masculine has been crushed beneath the weight of toxic patriarchy. And so we need all of us to wake up and to rise. And on this Friday, on this Good Friday, on this Friday where Jesus was crucified and died and was taken to the tomb, again, something that I never thought I would be speaking about at all, much less on a public YouTube channel. We're just invited to remember that we have it all inside of us, and we are being invited to wake up. Thank you so much for being here. Whew, that feels very vulnerable. But here I am doing it anyway. Thank you so much for being with me. Thank you for taking this in. Please ask me any questions you might have about anything, really. Please like and share and subscribe and tell your friends about what I'm doing here. And come and see me tomorrow. Thank you so much.